But just because Gaydos isn't here, just because he's lounging somewhere, doesn't mean we don't have time to check in the belly of the beast. We're going deep into the swamp itself, into the DMV, as they like to call it. Live from Washington, D.C., it's Mondays with Meghan. Meghan McCain joins us. Good evening to you, young lady.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me, and congratulations on being the #1 talk show in Arizona.
It's only today when I'm here, Megan.
It's only when Barry Markson is filling in for Gaydos. Keep that in mind, yes. Meghan, great to have you with us, but I got a question for you, and this is a very serious one because I know you are tied into the political circles in D.C. Is Republican support for global tariffs starting to crack? Is it starting to weaken? And are we seeing any sort of a change in D.C.? I heard some clip from Ted Cruz talking about how bad tariffs were, and I had to go check what year he said it in. And it was, by the way, this weekend.
Yeah, there's a lot of reporting that the support on Capitol Hill is like soft, including from some colleagues I work with. So, and I'm not a reporter, but they are. I have heard two schools of thought. Like I've heard that like extreme MAGA people are like, we have to have faith in President Trump, and we're all willing to sacrifice a little bit of pain for the greater good. And then there's obviously the traditional conservatives who are for free trade and capitalism, who are like, you know, this is not what I signed up for. What is going on? You know, if this turns into, you know, an absolute cluster, we'll be feeling the voter ramifications for the rest of our lives. I have been talking to economists on my own show all day, and I'm here to tell you, I honestly have no idea what's going to happen. It's either going to be like an absolute stroke of genius or insanity, and there's like absolutely nothing in between.
Meghan McCain with us here on Mondays with Meghan on Outspoken. Meghan, what is I'm trying to understand it. I really am. What is the positive side of this? How does this work out well? What are those economists telling you? Because I'm not seeing it. I mean, we're down 20% almost in the market since just February. We've had the worst 3 days in the market since 2008. What is the bright side of this?
So how it was explained to me by Lydia Moynihan, who's a financial expert for the New York Post just a few hours ago, is that basically Trump is trying to put pressure on other countries to lower their tariffs, and this is some kind of like, you know, 9D game of art of the deal chess, and then basically forcing them into a situation where they will lower the tariffs. We did see that with the European Union earlier yesterday. I am not a complicated person, and I tend to keep my analysis very simple. I am freaked out. I don't like the idea of having to pay $3,000 for an iPhone coming up the next few months. I also do not like the language of you have to suffer for a period of time in pain in order for the greater good. To me, that's language of like populist Bernie people, you know, things we hear about from like climate change extremists and people that are saying you have to give up so much for the greater good.
Meghan, they preached that in Mother Russia back in the days. Come on, this is all for the good of Mother Russia.
Love the pain.
Yeah, I actually saw a commentator dubbed over with like North Korean music in the background talking about this yesterday. So I just don't like any of it. It all makes me uncomfortable. And, you know, I think it's one thing, and I was putting this on my Twitter and social media earlier. I personally, you know, I've been in media since I was 22 years old. I'm now 40, you do the math. And there's a lot of people on TV who are commenting about how we can get through pain. I don't care about my 401k. Well, that's easy when you have $1 million contracts and you're married to the head of Goldman Sachs.
You're right.
Like, give me a break. But we're talking about real people here. And I know, and you know, like, you know, not to, you know, be like sort of untoward and tell you my friend's business, but I have a lot of friends in Phoenix who, you know, if prices raised for just like normal goods and, you know, phones and cars and gas and things, like they're going to have very serious economic problems in their household. They've already been sort of pushed to the brink over the last few years. So this is like a big gamble, and I don't want to see anyone in pain. And everything is very nebulous, and the messaging coming out of the White House, including from people like Peter Navarro, is all completely screwed up. No one can keep it in line. And again, I want to know how much pain for how long, because I don't think that's what the voters signed up for when they voted for Trump.
We're talking to Meghan McCain, daughter of the late, great Senator John McCain, the original Maverick out of Arizona.
Yeah.
Mondays with Meghan. So I think there's also, I don't know if I use the term misconception, or at least a narrative out there that Wall Street, the stock market, well, that's just all the rich people. That's all that's the 1%ers, and they're just mad because the stock market's going down. I don't think that's true, is it?
No, it's absolutely not true. And I'm actually deeply offended by that because, again, I think it's also something that, populist socialists say, we should never care about anything on Wall Street. Union pensions rely on the stock market. A majority of Americans rely on publicly traded companies for their work and their paychecks. 61% of U.S. adults own stocks, including 51% of people who earn between $30,000 and $75,000 a year. And obviously, that's not even mentioning the impact that 401ks and people in retirement situations have. I am so offended by that talking point, and I think it's not only factually inaccurate, I think it's really dangerous. Yes, we don't have to care about the head of Goldman Sachs, if you will, but you sure as hell should care about what they're indicating in the markets because everything has a trickle-down effect.
Right.
I don't even know where someone came up with that. It just seems so grossly naive and I don't know, obtuse.
It's going back, going back 50, 60 years when 20% of people own stock in the stock market. But you're right. It's 2/3 of Americans have stock now. It's a different world. Meghan McCain with us here on Outspoken on KTAR. Meghan, it goes with the Treasury Secretary who said something the other day that if his mom missed a couple of Social Security checks, she'd be just fine.
Lutnick said that.
And I almost fell down when I heard that.
Yeah, you want to hear, and if you hear from anybody who misses a Social Security check, it's fraud.
Yeah, and the people, some people who have a longer time horizon are looking at this saying, all right, this will be a buying opportunity, it'll come back. But if the market goes down 20%, it has to go up 40% to get people back to where they were. And there are people who are literally 73 right now and retired, and they're living off that retirement. They count on that to pay their bills and to do things, and now that's hurt. So I agree that the callousness of it is something that bothers me as well. Let me change subjects real quick here. President Trump met with Benjamin Netanyahu this morning in the White House. I don't know if you saw any of that. What are your thoughts on the relationship here? Obviously very strong now between the United States and Israel, but how the United States is basically giving Israel untethering it, so to speak. They can do what they want to do. And also, if you could, your comment on Trump saying he's going to be negotiating directly with Iran on a nuclear deal.
Yeah, I don't love that. I don't know about you guys. I mean, I am a big supporter of Israel. I have been for a long time. Obviously, my support heightened after October 7th. Like so many people, I was happy to see Netanyahu at the White House, especially because in the last administration, there wasn't even any kind of official meeting, and he had been iced out in so many different situations. We cannot afford in treasure and blood in any form, any kind of war with Iran right now. I do not know this for a fact, but I would assume that President Trump probably told Netanyahu to hold the brakes on him. There's always the rumors of and people reporting that Israel is going to attack Iran. So I don't know. I do not think a war would be popular. I also think that just given, the strategy we're seeing with things like tariffs, I respectfully don't know how much faith I put in their war planning. So, and
I'm on the Signal chat. I'm on the Signal chat. I got added to it, so I'll let you know how that turns out.
Signal chat with me.
I'm not going to let them know that I'm watching. These
are very intense times.
Isn't it,
very intense stories. It's a hard time right now.
Oh, but we're having fun with it anyway. Meghan McCain, for goodness sakes. Meghan, I want to end with the real serious question here, okay? And I need you. I want to make sure. Are you sitting down?
Yes.
Okay. The hell's going on with you and the White Lotus?
Oh my God,
Meghan freaking McCain. It's the #1 show on TV, and why are you fighting with one of the actresses?
Okay, so Carrie Coons, who's one of the girlfriends in the show,
one of the trio of girls that are on the island.
Yes, she tweeted at me a few weeks ago. I was tweeting something. I don't even remember what it was, but it was something in response to President. Oh, I do remember. I'm sorry. President Trump was talking about cancer research and the little boy DJ who had brain cancer. And obviously, for me, brain cancer is very personal, very, emotional. And I got really emotional watching that little boy like so many other people did. And I was tweeting about it. And Carrie Coons of White Lotus found that very offensive and was tweeting at me. And then I tweeted back at her. And then we both keep asking about it in interviews, so it's like this circle of hell because I keep answering and she keeps answering. And she's talked about me 5 times, and then she just did an interview today, Bruce.
Today.
They asked her about the finale of White Lotus, and she said, "I'm glad Meghan McCain was watching." And I was like, I don't know how I'm this involved with this show. It's so weird, and everyone's asking me about it. And I was like, I don't know her. I don't know what's going on. It's so weird.
Will you do a cameo next season? Will you go on the White Lotus?
No,
come on.
What?
No, I'm like so weirded out by this whole thing, and apparently like something that triggered her is like one of the characters is conservative,
Right.
and the character is like portrayed nicely, and I think it's just all too much for her. That's my take on all of it. But I get in the weirdest fights with the weirdest celebrities once in a while.
Yes,
Every
you
once in a while
do.
something like this happens. I know.
God, I do so much more trolling than you, and I don't get nearly the amount of fights. You're just special, Meghan. Meghan, I really appreciate your time today. Thank
Thanks,
you
Meghan.
very, very much.
Thank you both so much.
I know
always love coming on.
I know you're coming out to visit us soon.
You guys, I'm going to be in Arizona for like 6 weeks, and that's supposed to be a secret, but my job gave me permission to come and tape my show there, and I am like on cloud 9. I'm so excited.
Well.
I'm so homesick. I hate it here. It's way better in Arizona.
Oh.
Stay there.
You're here. You're here.
Beautiful
I
here.
want to move
I
permanently. My husband's job is preventing it, and I just am. I'm so excited to come home.
The old ball and chain. I got it.
that's
All right.
awful.
Well, Meghan, appreciate your time today. Have a wonderful night. Good luck.
Thanks, Meghan.
Toughing it out there in D.C. in the swamp.
And seriously, thank you guys so much. I have so many of my friends in Arizona that are like, listen to your show all the time and are so excited I'm on Monday. So thank you. It's keeping me cool.
The Meghan McCain fan club all shows up in mass at 5
all
o'clock
5
on
of them.
Mondays. Oh, quit it out. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. We'll talk to you again next week at Monday at 5.
Thank you. Bye.
Outstanding. That is Meghan McCain. Little Mondays
There you go.
with Meghan, getting her take from inside the belly of the beast. Okay, she is smack dab in the middle of it.
Man.
Hey, come